Let me welcome everyone to the artist reception for the San Fernando Valley Arts and Cultural Center exhibit Passion. It is put on by our SCORE project. And I'm always kind of taken by surprise when we do start. So this is our SCORE project. And we started out as a brick and mortar gallery. And there you go. We were located in Tarzana in the San Fernando Valley. We had a great run for how long was it? Maybe
6 years.
6 years.
6 years.
And then the pandemic hit. So there you go. So I'm going to go right back to the beginning. Anyhow, welcome everyone. I'll be turning it over to our new president and vice president momentarily. I know that we've got our vice president emeritus, Ken Roney, here. We've got Adria, who, Adria, I forget what your title is now, but Adria is a long-term board member, teacher, mentor, and friend. So welcome everyone. I would like to take just a moment at this point to just remember our dear friend, teacher, mentor, amazing artist, Susie Gesundheit. If you go to our website, and the link is in chat, I assume you all know where it is, take a look at the exhibit. It's an exhibit of both Susie's artwork and her students' artwork. And we're all still trying to cope with the loss of her. So I just wanted to remember her at this point. And that said, I'm going to turn it over to Susan Spector, our president, I believe.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Passion Call for Art Zoom reception. It's fabulous to see everybody. We're up to like 26 people. So that's wonderful. Somebody else wanting to come in. Pat, thank you for coordinating this. Again, I am Susan Spector. I became the president, took over the leadership role on January 1st, 2024. So I'm very new to all of this and learning daily as to what I'm doing and what to do and who to call and who to email and, you know, how to make this all happen. I am fortunate enough that I have a wonderful team that's I get to work with, and almost everybody has been on the board for 5+ years. So Rhonda Burton is here. She is our vice president. She is new to the organization. Pat Bates. Pat Bates is our secretary treasurer and Zoom coordinator. And Pat she just knows everything. She's a wealth of knowledge for us and taxes and nonprofits and all that information. So Pat is a godsend. Adria Becker is absolutely also a godsend. She has been with us 5 or 6 or 7 years, and she is the artist group liaison. She interfaces with Collage Artists of America and Co-op 7, who basically rent space from us and have online exhibitions that we host at San Fernando Valley Arts and Cultural Center. Ken Roney is former past vice president. He was, oh my God, when we had the brick and mortar, he'd come in with his overalls on and his work belt on, and he could make and build and fix anything, and hung lights for us and drapes and everything in that space. And then also transitioned with us as we went from the brick and mortar into the Zoom platform. So I think that's it. Congratulations, everybody. I'm thrilled to see you all here. Congratulations on your work. It's an amazing exhibition. Be sure to check it out. It will be up for 30 days, I think, and then go into our archives. Somebody else will correct me because sometimes my brain doesn't work so well. So
March 31, I think it finishes.
Thank you, Rhonda. So I'm thrilled to have met Shayna and to work with Shayna and to learn from her. And to have her be part of this and to take time out of her day in Palm Springs to join us tonight. So welcome. And I'm going to turn it over to Rhonda Burton.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming and showing, and this is a beautiful show. The work is spectacular, and we are thrilled to have Shayna jury our show Passion, and it's the first show of 2024 for San Fernando Valley Arts and Cultural Center. Shayna is an art critic, a curator, an author, and she's based in downtown LA. She studied art history at Vassar. She curates and juries exhibitions. She writes catalogs and monographic publications, speaks at galleries and schools and cultural institutions nationally. And she's the arts editor for LA Weekly, yay, and a contributor to Flaunt and Artillery magazine. We love that as well as other cultural publications. She's the recipient of the 2022 Mosaic Future Art Writers Prize and the 2022 Rabkin Prize for Art Criticism and the LA Press National Arts Entertainment and Journalism Critic of the Year for 2022. It is a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you so much for that. Gosh, it's always horrifying to hear your bio read out loud, but I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for having me. And Susan, Susan and I had worked together on a previous related, similar project for taking artists to the Beverly Hills Art Show, and we had such a good time. And I was so happy to be invited into your community. I am such a fan of what you guys do, and I always enjoy people say, oh God, the jurying process, but I actually love it because it's oftentimes filled with artists that I haven't met before, whether they're from other parts of the state, country, sometimes the world, whether it's just, because it's out of like my well-worn path through the gallery systems of LA or whatever. And I always learn a lot and have a really engaging time. And this was no different. This was a beautiful group of people to sort through. And before we get started, I just want to say what I did say in my statement, although if you haven't read it, but I just want to put this out there to kick things off, which is, when jurying and curating are different, I always say, until the moment when they aren't. And what I mean by that is there's certainly an element to a juried competition where, there's a round of sort of like yes, no, you go through everything and you kind of get a sense. Then you go back to the yes, maybe, and now you have to like put a whole show together. Because what I love is when in the end, you've hit your target numbers, and not only are they all the work that you love the most, but they are work that works together and creates a sort of holistic exhibition that elevates everyone that's involved. And the reason I point that out is because that part of the process oftentimes involves saying no to work that's perfectly fantastic, but is maybe an outlier in the shape of a whole show as it starts to kind of build itself from within. That's the really hard moment where you have to go, God, I love that, but it's the only fill in the blank. And so is the balance off, or it's something like that, or, it's not. And I just always like to say that at the beginning of these processes, because what I don't want ever is for people who didn't get in or didn't win to think that that means their work was not as good as the people who did get in. Because in the final analysis, it goes beyond what you take everyone that's equally good, and then you build a show. That's how I work. And I really, really, really want to honor all of the hard work and dedication that you guys put into this by making it crystal clear that in and out is not the same as good and bad or anything like that. And I just want to say that with a lot of love and respect for what you guys do before we get started. So again, thank you so much for inviting me for trusting me really with this.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. And we're going to move right along to our first honorable mention. So let's make sure we can see it here. And here we go. So
Yes.
this is,
Oh, I meant, yes, I
we
can see
were
it.
hanging
Sorry. I was
together.
excited because I could see it.
Yes, by Ayala Galwan.
Yeah, this work, I remember coming back to this work a few times in the course of during it. And first of all, I always like to kind of, um, I'm a fan, let's just say, of sort of naturally occurring surrealism. And I think that there is just something really marvelous about this piece because on the one hand, it's incredibly ordinary and familiar, but then a split second later, you realize that it's actually much more dreamlike and kind of surreal. And the reason that that works and has such a great energy is because of how well it's rendered. And I love the palette. I just love it. This was something that I kept thinking about. Like I love, the other works from this series were also really well done, but I think there's a little bit extra humor in this one that I also responded to.
Thank you. And I do see the artist is here. Ayala.
Okay.
Yes, hi. Thank you. Anything you want me to tell about the art?
That's up to the producers.
Yes. Yeah. You take a couple moments and this is an amazing piece. Where did
Yeah.
you conceive this from?
Yeah, so I just, it was my series about kind of using the hanging clothes as kind of try to bring some message, and in the end of the line, which I actually call this series storyline, there are many stories that I can tell with hanging clothes, which such a simple idea, but it has a lot of a message, and I almost could see people while I was painting these clothes, and so there is this all kind of level that I can tell my stories with images.
Yeah, the sort of the way that it's obvious that the people are there but not there because it's their clothes and their personality and their the events of their life while they're wearing them, but they're absent. That's just like another dimension of it that I appreciate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We will move on to Prelude to a Kiss by Lonnie Sherwin.
I mean, honestly, just flat out gorgeous. I mean, like like so beautiful that it's like hard to get past how beautiful it is. You can't forget it. And I'm a student of art history. That's my degree. And I appreciate contemporary artists who have clearly spent time with art history. And I feel like there is perfect balance of simplicity and complication, and that it's deployed in a way where you're also thinking a lot about like the paint, like that it's physical paint. So it has that other kind of a dimension where you can think about it beyond the likeness and the beauty. And it kind of interrupts the beauty with the way that it's painted, but then the physical paint itself is so yummy and kind of chewy. And so it just kind of keeps flickering for me, and that gives it a real sense of life. And so as far as portraiture goes, like, 10 of 10, no notes, right?
Thank you. I don't know if the artist is here.
I don't see him on the
I didn't. Well, if
list.
he turns up later, he can say a few words later. And that said, we will move ahead to Echo Rocks, Joe Jasper Dean.
I mean, the sense of color is just unparalleled. If you really look at this, it should not work at all. Like there's so many strong colors. They should be fighting with each other. They are not. They're in this incredible harmony as well. If you think about it, it's not really naturalistic in the sense of like the actual palette, but if you've spent time in that part, those kinds of parts of the world, you absolutely know where that vibrancy is coming from. And it's so emotional, but it's so much in dialogue with the sort of like feeling of being in a place as well as what it looks like. And I just wanted to honor the adventurousness of the palette, really. And I think that it's in a really nice dialogue with landscape painting of the American Southwest generally, but also like quite clearly contemporary. And, you know, the way the sky is rendered is also, I'm pretty obsessed with. So yeah, just pure energy.
Lovely. And do you see the artist there?
I don't see the artist here in the list.
Okay. Well, we shall move along. And here we have Edge of a Dream by my friend Adria Becker.
Really? I didn't even know that. I mean, what's part of, as an aside, what's brilliant about being like an outsider is that I have no idea, right? Like I see the names, but it doesn't always mean anything. Maybe I don't see the names. So yes, amazing. Even love it even more now that we've met. Some of the things I've said already, you might even be able to guess like what I would say about this, but I feel like it's all of those things. Like I feel like there's this sort of adventurousness with the palette that should really interfere with the naturalism of the effect of the piece, and yet doesn't. Like, and that reminds me of times in art history, you know, Woman with the Green Stripe, where painters went beyond likeness in portraiture, but without letting go of likeness, and started to do other things with color. And this whole series is stunning. Honestly, I want to see a solo show of this whole series. But for me, I further enjoyed the sort of regal bearing of this particular sitter, and the expression and the way the gaze is just on something else. And I thought that it was a really marvelous blend of the present moment and, you know, art history of a century ago. And that's kind of like my happy place. So yeah, I had a hard time picking between the different ones in this series, but in the end, this one kept reminding me of Picasso and Matisse, and I thought, well, that's something. Let's honor that. So congratulations. I still love it.
Thank you so
Adria.
much, Shayna. I am going to have a solo show of these pieces, as it turns out, next month at a gallery in downtown LA, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Oh my God, tell me all. Okay, make sure I know
Okay.
about that, because I live in downtown, but beside
Okay.
the point, I really want to see that. That's amazing.
Well,
Congratulations.
wonderful. Thank you. And this is done in oil pastel, which is something I have come to more recently. And oil pastel is just oil paint in a stick, and it looks like a big fat crayon. So I love to apply the color, and you really have to lean into it to blend it. And then I like to have the crisp, clean shapes and some of the blended shapes. I'm very fortunate to always have wonderful models with a lot of character, and I try to use that as my inspiration. And then, of course, the materials are the inspiration too.
Yeah, I mean, just like that little blue, the one red lip. I mean, it's so thoughtful. So yeah, what brava.
Thank you. And congratulations to everybody. It's a beautiful show.
Thank you, Adria.
You're
Let's
welcome.
move on to second place, Steps to Revival 3, Alina Holub.
Yes. And part of what I really liked about, I mean, first of all, it's such a compelling image. And again, like you guys are getting such a lesson in like somewhat my taste. Like I'm kind of a maximalist, you know, FYI. But I feel like there's a really interesting balance here between like, I don't want to say naturalism, but say plausibility in terms of the architecture. And yet the way that it's visually and I believe physically collaged, you look at it, it's plausible, it seems like a view, and then very quickly you realize that there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on in the image. Then when you start looking at the individual details, you realize that the narrative is actually somewhat unsettling. And yet, the upper part of the work remains sort of beautiful in this way. That yellow is so vibrant, but you realize this fire damage, like it keeps bouncing your brain around to all these different places and creating all this movement for your eye and for the story that keeps unfolding the longer you look at it. And so I thought that was a really beautiful, not only just as an image, but a really successful way of using the mediums that it's built from. So
Thank you. And I bet Olena is here and would like to say a few words.
I'm here. I want to say some words about this plot. It's from Ukraine. My passion is about victory in our war, and I want to rebuilding our cities, our buildings, and I live in California and combined two our countries in one digital collage as wishing of all of the world to win in Ukraine. I think about it. Thank you very much that you understand all people on the world. Thank you.
Slavia Ukraine.
Thank you. Slava Ukraini.
Slavia Ukraini, that's right. I mean, yeah, and see, that's exactly what I mean. Like that story lives within this image, and that's the power of art. Sometimes it's not only skill but message. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, and moving ahead. First place, Frosted, Kathy Block.
Yes. Again, this just caught my eye and wouldn't let go. And okay, you've heard me. By now, you've heard me. Color, pattern, texture, so much information, and yet so settled as a single image, so familiar and yet so surreal. The way the reflection is done, the way that the path of the river leads your eye, the way that the whole ground is gold and the whole sky is this deep blue, the way the texture reflects the texture of the physical paint reflects the part of the world that it's depicting and kind of embodying, therefore. And just, I'm a big fan of the way that it's kind of cantilevered, like it's balanced with no symmetry, not even really above below because it's the angle, and the way that this line intersects with the horizon, like it's a really lively picture with a lot of energy and a lot of movement in it. And the way the sun peaks from behind trees, the sun flare, we all know that effect, but the sun is, the way it's done, right? The sun's on top of the trees, but that's what it feels like, like there's just a lot of attention paid to kind of like the phenomenon of being in the landscape. And I just really loved how evocative it was. It feels like you could be there, even though it's like realism is not an issue, and all of those things. It really spoke to me.
Thank you. And I suspect the artist is here. Kathy, if you'd like to say a few words.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure to be in this show. I'm very honored. What I was trying to show in this piece is it's really not a painting, it's mixed media. And all the marks are paper, except for the reflection in the brook. That's painted. Everything else is different kinds of paper, and that's why the texture stands out. I go walking at different times of the day, and I like to see the sun in different positions. And when the sun is in a place where it burns through the trees, I get very excited about it.
Me too. My heart. It's just right. Yeah, and it's a great technique that you have there with the paper.
Thank
Very
you.
cool.
I was trying to, the copper ran through the sky in a certain pattern. I tried to represent that pattern on places in the ground with different kinds of paper, the swirl, the curl, the almost S shape in the changes of value in the ground. I was repeating that form.
Yeah, it really works. And with the bare branches kind of echo that as well. So you wind up, I think that's probably why it seems so, sort of like coherent, even though so much is going on, is because it does exactly what you just said. It's not symmetry, but it is balance because it has those echoes. It's really thoughtful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And moving right ahead. Best of show, Déjeuner sur l'herbe, Marie-Anne Chacad.
Yes. And again, different mediums involved, which help with the texture. But this is another case where I felt like this is very much I mean, it's impossible when you look at the female figure not to think about Manet and Picnic on the Grass, Déjeuner sur l'herbe. When you think, and within that painting, that, the people were all dressed and undressed differently in a pastoral setting, and the way that painting has been, that we keep kind of returning to it to reevaluate the gender and class and power dynamics going on in that painting, but also formally the ground that it broke with using different styles within different parts of a composition to shape and direct the story. Even the quality of the letter Y has that kind of old, turn of the century kind of aesthetic to it. And so I felt like there was a real callback to art history, a little bit of Gauguin, all that stuff. And yet at the same time, like, there's no way you don't know it's contemporary. And that little bit of alchemy, I think, is such an interesting place for contemporary art to be. And her eye contact, just all of it. Like it really, once I saw the art history in it, I couldn't stop seeing it. And that made me, it was very satisfying to be able to experience that kind of discourse across a century. Really, really beautiful work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was thrilled to have this. I'm honored actually to have been chosen for the best of show. I was surprised, at the same time very happy, because this work means a lot to me. Because I love to, well, first of all, I love to paint models. I love to have people in front of me. And I thought to myself, I love the Déjeuner sur l'herbe by Manet in 1863. I love art history myself. I just love all that. And I thought, if I had to do it today, what would I do? Who would I choose? And that was the whole thing. And why, would I paint this woman naked? And I thought, women are so sexualized today. I mean, that's how I felt. And then, but I also incorporated, the background is made up of photo montage, and then I paint on top of it in transparency to let the photo montage show through their clothing and through them. But so I use different books, and there's a magazine in the background, and you can see that although it's the same Déjeuner sur l'herbe, if you can't really see it, but one of the pictures behind it, there's a car on fire. So as much as it's a park and it's beautiful, it kind of said to me what is going on today, this feeling also of, we're happy, we're sitting, we're peaceful, but it's not so peaceful out there. And so there was all this going on with me. And I like I said, I just, once I decided to do it, it was like, it was a challenge. So I was very excited once it was finished, and, and that it was chosen. I was very, very happy because, it's something I worked on with many steps. It wasn't just one thing,
Oh, I
That's,
love that. And what you were saying about like, how would I do it if I were
Yeah.
doing it now? I mean,
yes.
the painting in the first place was all about like the crisis of being at the edge of modernity, right? Like
Yeah,
that was some of the like fraught emotional dissonance going on in the original. And so I love that even that kind of lives on in the spirit of this work. So yeah, really well done.
well,
I'm
thank
so
you
happy with you
so
speaking.
much.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep
Thank you very
keep
much.
going. Keep going
Thank
with
you.
this.
Great. Thank you. Great.
And well, that concludes the winners.
Congratulations, everyone. I'm applauding you from Zoom land. Really, the whole show is beautiful though. I mean, the whole thing looks so good. You all guys, you look the work all looks amazing in conversation with each other. And I'm not just saying that like because I picked it. I mean, first you all had to be, but I think it was not difficult to imagine it all in one room. Like it really feels like you guys have like a proper kind of community going. So even with all the eclecticism, there's a real voice. So just thrilled to be getting to know you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. I do know our juror has an engagement to get to.
Do
And President Susan Spector has an engagement. So at this point, we would like to invite the rest of the artists, anyone who'd like to talk about their work a bit. My friend Barbara Tabachnik will help with highlighting their pieces. I will work on spotlighting whoever's speaking and just try to take care of the housekeeping with the Zoom thing, which sometimes can spiral out of control.
often.
Are we gonna get
And
to
I just-
see, can
I
we
just
see
wanna
the rest of the
say-
pieces?
What's that
Yes,
again?
and I just want to say that
Yeah.
even though I do have to go, that for everyone who's about to talk about their work, I promise, pinky swear, really, really mean, I will go back and watch the entire recording so that I will be able to check in with any of you guys that's about to talk, even though I have to leave. I promise you, I will watch this on YouTube and I will see what everyone has to say at that time. And I'm so sorry that I have to go early, but I will do that. And I really will.
Well, thank you for
Okay.
joining us.
Dana,
So,
thank you so much.
oh, thank you guys. Thanks again for having me. Congratulations and have a great Zoom. I'm going to go now so you guys can start drinking or whatever you're going to do.
There you go. We've lost our supervisor.
There we go.
See, that's what I mean. I'm leaving, the manager's leaving, everybody get your shot glasses out and
Yep,
have a brilliant, brilliant night.
There
Okay?
you go.
Congratulations. I'll hope to
Thank-
see you again soon.
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, I will share my screen now. And if anyone would like to talk, please put your name in the chat and
I will keep an eye on that.
good, because I just lost my chat. Okay, you can see me sharing the screen, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so who do we have? If anybody is shy, I can talk about mine to start us off.
I bet people aren't shy. Let's see.
Oh, okay. Do you have people on share?
Hold on a sec. Let me check chat here. One new message.
Hmm.
Katie Bishop.
Okay.
And I'm okay. I'll keep track of the order and holler them out to you.
Okay, Katie, which one would you like me to highlight? The first one or the second one? Katie? Unmute yourself, please.
Sorry, guys. I'm cooking while we're doing this. Either one you've got handy is fine.
Okay, I really like that. I like the other one too, but go
So-
ahead.
This is called Gone Too Soon. I painted it after a friend died. So is it flowers that are wilting or my friend, or, go figure. It's alcohol ink. It's on synthetic paper and it's sold. So I'm very happy about that. But it's one of my favorites that I've ever done. Anyone have any questions? I don't know what more to say.
It's
It's
beautiful.
very lovely.
Yes.
Alcohol ink is just fun, isn't it?
I'm sorry, say again, please.
Alcohol ink is just fun to work with. And this
Oh,
is
yeah, it is
lovely.
really, it's great fun, especially on paper. I
Yeah.
also paint reverse on plexiglass, and that is a little different.
Yes.
And much more of a challenge.
Okay.
But I love the colors. I love that you can change it. Where watercolors are rather permanent.
Mhm.
But it's a great medium.
Thank you.
You
Okay,
know,
Barbara, Matt McHugh.
am I on? Okay, I just want to say that I really like the fact that there is no background.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just,
Oh,
I don't know why this, boom. It's just the image, the flowers, and that's it. And I think a background would have just distracted from the beauty of what's here. So I think
thank you.
that's a great choice.
Thank you. The other thing about working with alcohol inks is when one ink touches a background color, both the background color and what you've just added changes to a totally different color.
Mhm.
So there's no permanence of a background like working in acrylic or oils. It's a one shot, and if you're going to do a background, you better figure out what you're doing so you leave space to lay your foreground later.
Oh, that's good to know.
We have Matthew McHugh.
Okay, let me see, Matthew.
Glad to be here. Yeah, really glad to be part of the show. There's a lot of just amazing artwork in the show, so happy to be part of that. Yeah, so I mean, I could talk about either of these. Generally, my work recently has been really focused on incorporating Paleolithic art or cave art into more sort of contemporary context. So yeah, one thing I'm kind of interested in is I feel like in art history classes, at least, it felt like cave art was sort of put down as like, oh, this is the earliest stuff, so it must be worthless. Or this is like, we've always just evolved forward from here. And I feel like that's a disservice to cave art. I think that it's really the core. I mean, as far as we know right now, like the core of art, the seed of art, right? And so it's also interesting to think like these were anatomically modern humans making art who'd had the same intelligence level as us, the same kind of communities, relationships, emotions as us, but 30 or 40,000 years later, we're still continuing their heritage. So a lot of it's focused on mortality and just these different scales of time, like participating in small day-to-day tasks. And that one on the right, on the bottom, these figures are gathering something, engaging with their environment on a very like looking down, day-to-day experiential level. And this living bull is integrating with cave art from Chauvet Cave, one of the oldest sites, but not the oldest. And kind of melding into this larger picture of what time is. It's kind of a similar idea with the left one with those lions based on Chauvet Cave as well, just integrating into this larger atmosphere. The figure on that pile of chairs, chairs being a stand-in for single human occupants, like it's almost just like the stack of history, what's come before, and how we face, we're adding to the pile and yet inevitably our time ends. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Mostly working with watercolor and charcoal and a couple other materials. Yeah, if anyone has questions, happy to share, but it's just a few things about my work.
That's beautiful. A large piece too.
Yeah, both of these are 3 by 4 feet. So
Wow.
with the watercolor, I often have to do them on the floor in the watercolor stage because otherwise, they'll drip too much. So
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Barbara, we have Tony Parras, Parras.
I'm right below, my work is right below Matthew's.
Oh,
So
okay.
that'll be easy.
Okay, we have to go a little farther. There.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, those two, so just thank you, everyone. I was really honored to be part of this group. I just recently got back into doing my artwork. I used to do this many years ago. I used to focus on black and white photography. And then kind of by accident, I got introduced into hand painting black and white prints. So, with different kinds of paints. So this is actually a black and white print, physical print. And then I painted it with many different layers of watercolors and hand pastels, and I think a little bit of oil and some pencils for details. And just a lot of layering, because the first couple of layers I put on just didn't have the kind of bold color I was really looking for to showcase kind of what I was feeling with this particular image. And I don't know, can you go to the other one, the one right before it real quick?
Before.
Blooming Heart, yeah, that one. So that one, I mean, the bleeding heart of that, or the blooming heart, I originally named it Bleeding Heart because honestly, that's what the flower looked like. Looked like it was bleeding, but then I thought that was a little too depressing. So I just changed the title to Blooming Heart. But I mean, the colors just, I mean, for me, colors in nature really, they're amazing in their diversity and just endless combinations. So sometimes I stay true to the color that I see in nature, and sometimes it's a little bit different. This one is very true to the color that I saw of the real flower. The other one, the previous one I did, is a totally different color than what I saw. So it's very fun to play with these different colors and techniques. And again, this was like a combination of watercolor, oil, pan pastels, and pencils.
Oh,
And
what
thank you
kind
so
of
much
paper?
I've tried different kinds of paper because I used to actually, when I used to do this, it was literally in a dark room with photo papers and all of that. Now everything's digital and it's hard to find a dark room where I live. So I'm using inkjet printers and different papers. So I've been experimenting usually with like a luster or a matte, and then I have to treat it so that it won't bleed or, run when I cover it. But so there's a lot of layering involved. Yeah, but thank you so much for having me here, and it was great to see y'all and all of your incredible work.
Thank you. Barbara, the next one I have is Malcolm Glass,
Right.
Autumn Matrix.
Right. I'm here. We can find it.
There it is.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, this whole show was so remarkable. I mean, it's such a range and variety and diversity in here. This photograph is pretty much, well, to me anyway, it's simple. It's not as complex as some of the other pieces we've seen here. This is pretty much untouched digitally. It is pretty much what the camera saw. I cropped it and might have changed the levels a little bit, but basically this is what I shot. And the reason is it's just slow exposure time. So, and there may be some camera shake involved. So that accounts for the blurring. And I just left it. I said, okay. And it just came out by luck, I guess, with this kind of balance with the yellow on one side and the green on the other. I don't know how that happened exactly. It was just there, and I may have seen it subconsciously, but I don't know. And then the kind of matrix of the limbs, I think, really adds a kind of sense of unity in a way. It kind of pulls. I'm not sure what to say about that. anyway, it was fun to see it come up. I thought, oh my gosh. But photographers will know that experience.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
And I have Sarabjit Singh. And I think it was married in 1949.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Yes, so this is very interesting, because this particular picture is done in acrylics, and it is my parents. They got married in 1949, and it's presently on view at the Contemporary Sikh Art exhibition at Fowler Museum in UCLA. And I was very happy that it got picked a second time over here also for Passions. So I was very excited. And the background is, called a dari, a rug, cotton rug, which was made by my great grandmother. So I tried to combine that. This picture was a black and white photograph. So I colored it. My mom stays with me. She's 96 right now. So I asked her, the photograph is black and white. What were the clothes that you were wearing? So she told me the color, and accordingly, I colored them. And then the rug is the same color that we have, that was passed down, on from one grandmother to the other, and from her mother to me. And, so that's how it's like 4 or 5 generations. And this is almost going kind of like 100 years old. And it's on display at the museum right now with the rug. And it is like combining, I'm doing a series on my mom. So it is honoring her, from where she was, and now she's here. And all those traditions and everything, the stories that we speak, we are going to pass on to our kids, our grandkids, so connecting the different lands together here and there, so through the threads. So these threads are just combining us and bringing us together. And that was the story.
Great.
That is a lovely piece.
Thank you.
Right.
And let's see if we have any. I don't see anyone else.
Rhonda, by the way, I've been trying to spotlight the speaker, and for some reason, not working.
I've gotten most of them.
Yeah.
Jody Church.
Okay, which one would you like me to spotlight, Jody? Jody? Are you here?
She is
I'm
here.
muted. I'm sorry. I was muted.
Oh.
So you can
The
show
first or the second one?
Patience, the first, the tree.
Okay.
I'm really pleased that these pieces got included with all this amazing artwork, because these are just sort of things I do on the side. I usually do mostly regular watercolor, but this is a very little known a meditative art form that's called Zen Tangle. And it's actually in its 20th year anniversary of it coming into existence, but it consists of these repetitive patterns that you put together to create, art with. And usually you do them on very small tiles, small pieces of paper. But for this project, it was a tree of life, and it was done on a much bigger kind of a scale. So each little design is just done with ink, and then you do watercolor over it if you choose. A lot of times we do it in black and white and just some shading. So I'm happy that it's represented here with all this other amazing art. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see here. I don't see. Barbara, do you want to talk about your piece?
Oh, okay.
Why don't you?
There I am. Actually, it's kind of a weird story. In 1972, my husband opened up an office. He was working with children with learning disabilities, and somebody, I don't remember who, gave him a split leaf philodendron as a, kind of office opening gift. And so he had it in his office for years. And then finally in 1996, he retired and he brought it home and we put it in the backyard. And 35 years later, it got its first flower. And this is the flower it got. And of course, being a digital fiddler, I messed around with it a whole lot. And this was one of my favorite renderings of this, what I call passion flower. And that's the story of that flower. Has
That is a
anyone
very
else ever
special
had
flower.
anything like that happen? Like a flower blooms after 35 years, its first flower?
Was it El Nino?
I don't remember. We had it outside at home and it was, under a covered patio. And
Wow.
all of a sudden, there it was.
It needed the outside air and sun, I think.
Yeah, but it had been outside for many years before it got it. So
Well, that's a special flower.
it
and
really was.
I'm glad you got it in, and we have a request from I am going to not pronounce this right. Yiwan Kai, CAI.
Yeah, hi.
There you are.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk about it because it does feel like it's like a different category because I'm not a traditional painter. I'm more of a digital creator. So it kind of surprised me when this one comes out and they start to have like an oil painting quality. And the main kind of passion is about the kind of central machine. So I kind of explore kind of machinery logic. And the kind of machine is kind of metaphor how the kind of fluid is kind of floating and how that kind of motion of fluid kind of expands like fantastically. It's kind of a fictionally into the whole theater space. So yeah, that's kind of a way of showing what's happening backstage into the front stage. So yeah, I think it's always interesting to see how the kind of like the whole thing is purely digital and seeing how it kind of merge with this kind of whole amazing series that all the amazing artists have done. So yeah, I just feel quite honored.
Thank you. And that is a large piece. It's 28 by 49 inches.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Okay.
Do we have any more? Okay. Last call soon.
Okay, I guess you could highlight one of mine, Barbara. I don't.
Sure, which one do you want?
I don't know. Let me take a peek.
Okay. Why is it not showing you?
I don't know, because.
Okay, there they
There you
are.
go.
Which
Okay.
one?
Okay, I'll take. It says Hollywood Bowl, but it's not it. I'll take an
Hollywood.
inspiration to our nation. It's Miss Mark.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Barbara, I will let me know what I'll see if I can figure out what's Miss Smart.
Okay,
and
you
get
know what?
that
We'll go to
fixed.
Hollywood Bowl. No, the two got, this is inspiration for my nation, which is the one,
Right.
the other one, but okay, this is Hollywood Bowl. I can talk about that. What I
Okay.
do is I work, this is kind of a digital art piece. I just play around with color. I love color, visited the Hollywood Bowl and just keep working on it till I get something I like. And frequently I work in it. This was a collage thing where had a couple of images in there as well. But primarily, I do digital art, and that's it. And like I say, it's not inspiration for our nation. The next one over is
That's the inspiration for our nation.
yeah, right. That was at Biden's inauguration, and I just loved her dearly. And I had a picture of the Capitol dome, and I combined the two, and because she had her hair so beautifully up, and just it was an inspiration to me, and it kind of just fit in. And I've actually had this piece in a show called Art Against Racism, and it was highlighted there, and very meaningful to me because she is an inspiration to our nation and something we should think more about in terms of what she has to say.
Good for you. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, can we see Adria's other piece or pieces?
Adria's.
Sure.
This one is there.
Different guy?
Yes, different guy, different guy, different day. I was very fortunate to have been given a gift of this toned paper, and I just can't stop working with it. I have a whole series on the toned paper, and I just find that it's such a nice challenge. You know, we're so used to doing everything on white. To have the toned paper become part of the piece is how I like to use it. It changed my life.
I love the lips.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love the purple.
Purple. Can't go wrong with purple.
Absolutely
No.
not.
Definitely not.
Thank you.
Quick question, Adria, does the black paper, does that change the quality of the paint? Or
It's
not
not
really?
really black, it's bluish gray. So what you're seeing in the photograph is really the color. So it depends on how thickly you put on the oil pastel. Where I want it solid, you just apply more. Sometimes I like the paper to show through. You could see in his chest area, it's showing through a little bit. So yes, it does blend with the pastel, the paper and the pastel.
So if this were on white paper, it would look very different.
Probably. Thank you for asking.
There was one of a boat and a bridge, and it was a very Russian name, and I wanted to see it bigger. Do you know what I'm talking about?
A boat and a bridge.
A boat and a bridge. It was all the way on the right. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, Indian name. Apologies.
Holy smell.
So I guess the artist isn't here. I wanted to know what medium this is.
It's acrylic.
Oh, duh. Thank you.
Oh, there was a question in the chat about how many entries there were. Pat, do you know how many entries there were?
I'm writing it down right now. There were nearly 200 entries.
Okay.
Wow.
Nearly, and I think we chose 100.
Thank you.
Now, are these up on a wall someplace, or is it 100% virtual?
This is all virtual. And it will be for until March 31.
And then it's archived after that, right?
Right. It'll be up permanently archived.
Yes.
Actually, all of our digital exhibits are on our website archived there.
So
And,
was this born of COVID that you started digital exhibits?
Yes. Because what happened was with the just to keep the gallery afloat, it was in a commercial warehouse. We didn't have a very nice landlord who wasn't very thoughtful, and of course, with the minute that the pandemic hit, We could not have events. We could not rent it out for anything. And basically, we had no choice but to pull the plug on it, which was, it was really unfortunate because it was quite a run that we had. We had classes. One of the pictures I put up was actually a City of Los Angeles planning meeting. We were just to make enough money to, you know, keep it going. We were just hosting the strangest things.
Some nice dances, wonderful dances.
Yes, and
Orchestra.
we had the Valley Opera there once.
May I add also that Artist Co-op 7 had classes there, and their classes are all now virtual and run through the gallery.
Right.
They used to be in person, now they're all on Zoom.
Yeah, and we've got people from every place, including Guatemala, and a couple there, I think.
We do.
Yeah.
They take figure drawing online, and there's also watercolor and oil painting classes online.
Can you click through some more of the pictures so we can see them large?
Sure.
Do a manual slideshow?
Do you want to just run through the whole thing? I think we could probably
If you have time, I'd love that.
Okay, let me see where, I guess we start here.
Start there, yeah.
And
then we can run right through them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Because I couldn't really see each one the other way.
Ooh.
Wow.
I was surprised Suzanne wasn't here.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
I bet
Yeah.
she's probably at an exhibit somewhere. Beautiful. Oh, look at the color in that.
Yeah.
Harold will get your titles fixed.
That's okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, they just got switched around. I didn't notice it when I looked at it online.
I'll send the web lady an email and she'll have them fixed.
Thank
Monday.
you. Thank you.
Dang.
Yeah.
Oh, it's upside down. Okay, I get it. Took me a minute. Oof.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I really like some of the titles.
Yeah.
Mhm. This is a nice show.
Yeah.
It is.
That's for tomorrow.
Yes, there you go.
Hmm. Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow.
Wow.
Hmm.
And that's it.
Love this.
Well, wonderful.
It
Thank
was
you.
a
Thank you for
lovely
doing
show.
that.
Yeah, thanks.
You're
That was
welcome.
wonderful. Good to see all
I
this.
don't know why I'm here, but here I am. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
It was a really wonderful show.
Thank you all very much. Great show.
Yeah.
Great
Thank you. And
Thank
reception.
you.
Thank you for joining us.
I
Thank
think
you
it's
for joining
time
us.
to say goodnight.
Mhm.
Night.
See you next time.
And thank you for keeping up the score.
Okay.
That's right. There you are.
And Barbara, thank you so much for helping. And I wish everyone a good night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Pat, for doing this.
You're
And
welcome.
Barbara.
Good night.
Good night.